Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Ari, and today we're going to have some more stories about our toxic life. But before we start, it would be so much appreciated if you would subscribe to my channel, like the video, if you enjoy it, and maybe leave a comment down below. These simple clicks would mean a lot to the future of this channel and really reward the effort that I put in every day. And now without further ado, let's go. Today's first story. This story revolves around a young couple who got married in 2020 and delayed their honeymoon until 2022. However, their trip to Italy took a disastrous turn when the husband contracted COVID-19 and ended up in the ICU. During his illness, he discovered that his wife was spending time with another man in Italy, even after he recovered. This revelation led to their divorce, with the husband's father, who was a lawyer, helping him through the process. The wife's life took a downward turn, and she tried to reconcile with her ex-husband, but he refused. Eventually, he moved on and started dating someone new, coincidentally, a woman from Italy. The story serves as a cautionary tale about the importance of truly knowing one's partner and maintaining independence and stability in a relationship. Now let's get into the story. My wife, 28, and I, 25, got married in 2020. Maybe that was a sign our marriage wouldn't work out. We delayed our honeymoon until 2022, but it proved to be too soon. We arrived in Italy in June and it was absolutely beautiful. We had one great day touring around town before I came down with a terrible sickness. When I got to the ICU, I was fighting for my life alone against COVID in a foreign hospital. I wondered what my wife was doing and if she was okay, but I shouldn't have been thinking about her no good, rotten self. Thankfully, I recovered after 5 days in the ICU. My wife actually tried to persuade the doctor to keep little while longer to make sure I was okay. But it wasn't because she was concerned for my well-being. On the car ride on the way to our hotel, she was acting so distant and anxious to see me, not relieved or happy. I couldn't believe it. All I wanted was to feel close to her after nearly dying in. But she didn't seem to be thinking about me at all. She got in the shower and I used the opportunity to check her phone. I found messages between her and another man, a local man. They took pictures together at all the iconic tourist destinations. They ate at restaurants together, went to a museum, got on a boat and went to a play. I mean, it was a 5-star romantic vacation. The only problem was, I wasn't there. There, my wife was, seeing another man behind my back while I nearly died. As soon as she came out of the shower, I confronted her. She played it off by telling me he was just a flirtatious tour guide. He didn't want her vacation to be wasted away worrying about me when she couldn't do anything to change my situation. I wasn't totally convinced by what she was telling me, but I figured if she got on the plane home and stopped acting so distant, I might be able to move on from this whole experience. Well, 2 days after we got home, she tried to go back to Italy to see him. She ordered the plane ticket with my credit card. I was already back to work when she did this, and I got a phone call about the unusual purchase. I was dumbfounded and didn't want to believe she'd be trying to go back to Italy to see this guy. If she was, there was no hope for us. She was crazy for thinking she could just leave the country to see another man. How foolish could she be? I was able to cancel the charge from going through. When I got home, she was upset. She couldn't tell me why, but I knew it was because her plane ticket was canceled. I finally started yelling at her to leave the house and told her about the fraudulent charge on my account. She was shocked I was telling her to leave, like it never crossed her mind. Find out or want a divorce. I asked her if she was going to see that Italian dude, and she tried saying no. I asked her why she was going back to Italy without me, and she didn't know what to say. I told her again to get out, and she wasn't very willing to pack. She literally didn't have any family or friends that were willing. I was stuck with this woman. I moved in with my father temporarily. When he heard what was going on, he didn't hesitate to help me out. He was a lawyer, so he helped me file for divorce and prove my wife's infidelity. I was able to get back some of the money she spent while she was with an Italian guy, and using my bank cards, I was permitted to keep the house. My wife was really apologetic at this point. We had a few court hearings that weren't looking good for her. She didn't have a job or anywhere to live now. She was starting over. Now, contrary to when she married into my wealthy family, was provided a nice home, and taken on luxurious vacations. Realizing how badly she screwed up, she tried asking me if we could start over and have a child to reconcile. Little too late for that. I told her she would call me at least once a week to ask how I was doing and if she could borrow money or stay on the couch for a few nights. She was staying with people she found on Tinder. It was not a pleasant lifestyle, far from her Italian fantasy. I asked her if she ever slept with the Italian guy, since I never knew for sure and she didn't have anything to lose. Now she admitted that she did several times. She justified it by saying she needed to enjoy her time in Italy, and she said she didn't regret it at all. I told her I didn't regret divorcing her at all and she'd never get any help from me. Since then, she hasn't called me. I started dating again, and it must be a small, coincidental world, because my girlfriend is from Italy, here to finish her college studies. We'll see what happens with that. I hope my story inspires you to stay positive and keep moving when you experience heartbreak. I didn't ever expect my wife to be so selfish. And while I was battling COVID, of all things, I really didn't know who I married. And I hope none of you make the same mistake. Get to know this partner for as long as it takes, while also maintaining your own independence and stability. Here are my thoughts on the situation. OP, I'm truly sorry to hear that your spouse let you down during a challenging time when you were fighting for your life. It's unfortunate that she didn't consider your feelings when making decisions, showing a rather selfish side. Hopefully, she'll realize the need for change if she wishes to find success in life. The key to a thriving marriage lies in viewing each other as equals and dedicating time to serve your spouse as much as yourself. Mutual respect and treating your partner the way you'd like to be treated are fundamental principles to uphold, no matter what life throws your way. Remember, every action has consequences, so it's crucial to sow the seeds of kindness and focus your intentions on honorable pursuits. By doing so, you'll attract good people and positive experiences into your life. I'm delighted to hear that your father was there to support you through the divorce, and it's comforting to know that things turned out okay for you. My wish for you is to discover a perfect balance and harmony in your future relationship. Thanks for sharing your thoughts and experiences. Today's second story. In the story, Opie's wife, excited about her job, hides an affair with a coworker. He exposes the affair at her workplace, causing public humiliation. Coworkers join in, shaming the wife with insults on her office door. Both the wife and her lover quit their jobs, severely impacting the town's major employer. The couple divorces, with the wife relocating out of state. He is satisfied with the outcome, relieved to move on from the painful past. Now let's get into the story. One fateful day when my wife went to work, she forgot her phone. I took the opportunity to check it and was appalled. My wife found I should have known what was going on because my wife, 25, was extremely excited about going to work. Suddenly she said it was because she became in charge of a business task that she really enjoyed. It was something like designing different abstract images each day for a newsletter. I, 28, believed her. She was a good girl and I was proud of her for earning us additional income for living expenses. The only other dead giveaway was that she didn't want to have intimate as often. But then I knew why. It was because she was interacting with a coworker, sending pictures and talking about the intimate they had. It was disgusting. I drove to her work immediately. I backed up all the stuff from her phone because although she wasn't getting it back, it was going to be deactivated. I brought it with me and started by showing the receptionist, who I'd only met once before. Then I asked her if I could get a guest pass to go have lunch with my wife. She giggled and gave me one. She knew I was sarcastically infuriated and this was going to be a heck of a show. She followed me in, putting up a "be back in 5 minutes" sign that she scribbled out. Everyone looked up from their desks to see me. I must have looked determined and angry. I asked everyone to gather around and they did. I said I had some news to share about somewhere they all knew well. They were all sparkly-eyed with gossip endorphins. When they found out who I was talking about, people started looking around for AP and my wife. AP came out of the bathroom just then and we all looked at him. I announced that there was a guy who had the audacity to sleep with my wife. Some of the coworkers started shouting out insults at him. Among these he was called despicable. Just then, my wife's head peeked out of her office. When she saw everyone looking at her, she went back inside and shut the door. Now everyone knew what my wife and AP looked like naked. Some girls whispered that they knew something was going on between them. The time to draw signs that said slanderous insults and tape them on my wife's office door. I thanked them for their creativity and left wondering where the boss was. That allowed all this to happen. When my wife got back to the house, I already had the locks changed. She took the stuff I let her have to AP's house. They both quit their jobs that day and walked out. Shamefully. In our town, there was just one major employer for like half the population. So when I shared with people the things my wife talked about and took pictures of, everyone in the area knew about it or saw it. It didn't take long for them to decide to move about 500 miles west. I couldn't have asked for a better outcome. Since she moved out of state, our divorce was made final through the mail. She didn't ask me for anything, thank God, but I would have been able to prove her infidelity anyway. She was done with me and the embarrassing past she was trying to forget. I felt the same way about her and couldn't be happier with the choice I made. Today's third story. In this story, OP cheated on him during a wild party thrown for a friend's wedding. The wife's friend, Jasmine, recorded the infidelity and informed about it. Confronted with video evidence of his wife's betrayal, he chose to get a divorce, despite family members urging reconciliation. He struggled with the situation, seeking advice from dancers who performed at such parties and finding it difficult to move past the images from the videos. His ex-wife now lives in her own apartment, and although some still ask for forgiveness due to the circumstances, he remains unable to forgive her, feeling that her actions revealed her as a fake friend and lover. Now let's get into the story. My wife cheated on me back in 2019. I was blindsided and I wanted to share because I was told my reaction was a little unhealthy. My wife had shown me that she has no loyalty, even though I did everything I could to make her happy. My wife and I got married 6 years ago and were in a good place in the beginning. I worked handling the accounts at my company and she was a state-tested nurse aide when I met her. We rented a nice house and weren't in any real debt. We were good at managing our money, so spending wasn't a problem. We communicated easily and worked good as a team. Getting physical at night was easy because she was so gorgeous and kept her looks up always. Our family had gotten along well and I was practically best friends with her brother Jacob. He worked as a custodian at the hospital she worked at, thanks to their mom, and we always looked out for her little brother. My wife was an independent woman who could always think for herself. She always had a sense of confidence and demanded respect from me and Jacob. We didn't have kids, but I felt like if we did, she would be a good inspiration. But the problem was that she had toxic friends around her, talked about each other made me feel like they were more like rivals than anything. They would talk about each other all week but party together and claim they were sisters. Not only that, they would get into terrible arguments, especially when they were drunk. I can't count how many times they had a falling out with each other one week. And then the following week, they would go out on a girls' trip to be on vacation. I was told that girls are always secretly in competition with each other, so I thought it was just typical. It could be annoying, but I just took the good for the bad. I just thought it was normal between the 5 of them. The affair happened when her friend Erica was about to get married. Before the marriage, it was normal to have their wild party. So my wife and her friends left that night to throw Erica the party they planned at the hotel. I knew they were going to be out all night, so I didn't bother waiting up for her. A couple days after the wedding, I was getting ready to hop in the shower that night when I heard my phone ringing in the bedroom. At the time, I wasn't sure that's what I heard, so I just hopped in the shower. When I came out of the shower, I saw I had 6 missed calls and they were from the same number. This was weird to me, so I didn't call the person back since I didn't know who it was. When I was in my living room, the number called again, and even though I didn't know the number, I decided to pick it up when I answered. Nobody answered me back at first, and all I could hear was a girl talking to a guy in the background. After saying hello 3 times, I just hung up. After that, they called again and I immediately picked up the phone. This time the girl answered me back and I realized it was one of my wife's friends. I asked her friend, let's just call her Jasmine, why she was calling me. She immediately started calling my wife names and said she cheated on me at the party. This had put a real fear in me, but I still said she didn't know what she was talking about. She said she did know and that she had recorded it as proof to show me. I asked her what she was talking about and she told me everything she said. At Erica's party, they had hired some guys to come there and dance for everybody. Since my wife was extra friendly to one of the guys, he kept coming back to her and he had crossed the line with her. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, but at the same time, I knew this kind of thing wasn't uncommon. After hearing me not say anything for a minute, Jasmine said if I wanted the evidence, she would send it to my phone. I told her to send it to me, and she said to hang up while she got ready to send it. After about 5 minutes, she sent me 4 video files, and when I looked at them, I collapsed on my couch. After seeing the proof, I called Jasmine back and she asked me did I get it, and while being choked up, I said I did. She started calling my wife names again and told me she was very sorry for how she acted. I asked her why she would do this to somebody she claimed was her sister, and she never gave me a direct answer. She just said my wife and her friends were a bunch of hypocrites and called them fake. I asked her how she got my number and she reminded me that my wife called her from my phone asking for directions to her dinner party she had at a restaurant. She said she was done being their friend and said that Erica was doing bad things too. Jasmine said to talk to my wife about it, and I told her she was at another friend's house at the time, but I definitely was. After hanging up, I was falling to pieces. I knew I had to confront her. There were 4 full videos of my wife being with another guy, but after that, I didn't know what my life would be like and how she could do this to me. I never trusted these parties, but I didn't think it would happen to me. I don't even get invited to these things. When my wife got home, I confronted her as soon as she walked in the door. I asked her how she was doing and she said she was tired but fine. I told her I never asked her how Erica's party was and asked if she had fun. She seemed caught off guard a little, but she said it was fine. I told her Jasmine said she had a fun time and that she even recorded it to show me later. She looked spooked and asked me what I was talking about, and I showed her the videos of her and the guy getting it on that night. First her jaw dropped, then she screamed at what she saw. She begged me not to leave her and said Jasmine was doing this because my wife had replaced her with somebody else to be one of Erica's bridesmaids. She said her and Erica got into a big argument about it and then Erica uninvited her from the ceremony. When I heard this, I could kind of see why Jasmine was mad. But not to go this far, though it didn't matter to me because I told her I was getting a divorce. And that's exactly what I did. Throughout the whole divorce, both of our families wanted us to reconcile. I was told even though she shouldn't have done it, it was a special night for them and I wasn't supposed to have known. I told them that was supposed to be for the bride and even if she was, I wouldn't stay with her. I couldn't believe my wife was doing this with this guy, especially in public. After finally getting divorced, I still couldn't leave the situation alone. I got in touch with other guys that dance and asked them about getting women. I even asked women. The women said they don't, but know girls who did it for extra money. The guys I asked said they get girls all the time, especially the bride. One guy said when he started it wasn't like that at first, but the women started wanting it and it just became normal. When I told my friends this, they said it was unhealthy and I should stop talking to them. I don't know, I guess it was just how I was handling it at the time. But I don't see anything wrong with it. I just couldn't get those videos out of my head. Especially when the guy knew she was being secretly recorded. Right now, my ex lives in her own apartment, close to her job somewhere. I used to see her family once in a while and they still ask me to forgive her because of the circumstances. But I can't do it. I hate to admit it, but Jasmine was right when she said my ex was a fake friend. But apparently her love was fake too. Now I hear she doesn't regret it. Thank you for reading through all of this. And please continue to stay genuine. Here are my thoughts of this situation. I'm truly sorry to hear about the difficult situation you've been through with your wife. Discovering infidelity can be incredibly demoralizing, and I commend you for taking the step to divorce her promptly. However, it's clear from your post that you're still grappling with the aftermath and the haunting images from those videos. It's essential to prioritize your emotional well-being during this challenging time, and I strongly recommend considering therapy as a means to heal. Additionally, I would encourage you to reevaluate the support you receive from your family members. It must have been disheartening to hear their suggestion that you should have forgiven your wife due to the circumstances of that special night. Surrounding yourself with a supportive and understanding network is crucial in times like these. It may be wise to maintain some distance from those family members who don't offer the empathy and support you need as you work through this difficult period. Wishing you the best of luck as you navigate this challenging journey towards healing and recovery.